Hi, Andreas. Here is Johannes from France. As promised, there is a short, I will try to make it short for you, a video of my book to show the amount of work till now. Uh, I have to do a lot of field research and go to some museum too. But here is a brief overview of the book. So the classic content. Uh, the classic introduction and the acknowledgement, not something very interesting for you. That's my father who hold a snake. And we enter the core of the subject. So there is an abstract. The classic introduction to snakes. Of course, there will be a lot more pictures. And the generality on the genus Philodryas. So the book was supposed to be only on Philodryas, but because of recent taxonomic reclassification, I think about making a book about tribe Philodryanidae, because just in November, 13 species of Philodryas are not Philodryas anymore. Some are Xenoxybelis, some other are coming back to Pseudabables. So I don't know exactly what I will do, but anyway, I have the weapon to do anything on both subjects. Generality on Philodryas, with some people that have done a lot of research concerning this very interesting genus, notably Robert Thomas and Laurie Witt. A chapter about systematic, mentioning the two recent studies concerning Philodryadini. The 23 species, so now there are only 10. And natural history with the mores, the reproduction, the crypticism. Here we can see two pictures, one of Philodryas argentea, who looks like a branch, and Himanthodes senkoa, a picture I took in Costa Rica. There is a section about predators and other threats, so birds, of course, but also other snakes, like these botrops, the introduced species, like the mongoose, and of course feral cats. There will be a section about human threats, like fear, of course, the road killing, the habitat destruction. There is a section to be completed about habitat alteration and natural catastrophes, and pollution, of course. The classic material and methods chapter. I still have a lot of work to do, but this is a picture about my research in Strasbourg Zoological Museum. The classic scalation drawing in order to identify snakes, which is very important concerning Philodryas. We will see that at the end. Oh, this is a big chapter about the Philodryas environment. So I can't do a book about South America, of course, but there is an overview about each country. So here is a table with Philodryas distribution of every South American country, and the keys to the species of genus Philodryas. Those keys, even if they are not finished for the moment, will be in English, but also in Spanish and in Portuguese. I've done some keys for each country too. So for each country, I describe every ecoregions, and there will be a ambrothermic diagram too. So there is a table for every country and keys that will be in both English and the language of the country. So for Argentina, it will be in Spanish, for Bolivia too. For Brazil, it will be in both English and Portuguese. And from some other countries, so you see I have still a lot of work to do. Colombia, Chile is not doing for the moment. Ecuador, no. And French Guiana. The keys will be in both English and French. And for Guyana, it will be in both English and Dutch. And now we are coming to the species account. So for each species, there will be the history of synonyms, the subspecies, if there are any, the type locality, etymology, the local name, if possible, in every language, including local language of local tribe, the scalation details, the description, the sexual dimorphism, if there are any, reproduction, behavior, distribution, biotype, diet, particularity. The venom section in each species account it will disappear because I've done a bigger venomous section at the end of the book. And for some species I have had the chance to keep in captivity. There is my experience. For some other, I don't the species I don't have any experience with. I have a few contributors who had the chance to keep them in captivity, and they will give me tables and data about reproduction and so on. So Philodryas acaciae, this species is very interesting because it feeds only on arthropod and spiders, as you can see. Those precious pictures were given to me by Octavio Marquez from Instituto Butantan. Oh, at the end of each section there will be a confusion paragraph in order to distinguish that species on the field with some very similar snakes. For example, let me go back to Philodryas saestiva. Here we go. Yeah, Philodryas saestiva can be confused with Leptophis species, Erythrolamprus species, Oxybelis fulgidus, Chironius curulus. And for each species I give keys to differentiate them. As you can see, Chironius curulus when juvenile looks a lot like Philodryas saestiva. The very rare Philodryas amaru, no Encapsis amaru, that has been discovered in 2014. Philodryas argentea, with no back to the genus Xenoxyberis. There are two individuals, one from French Guiana and the other from Peru. You can see the difference of the chin color. Philodryas arnaldoi, with no back, according to some authors, to Pseudabables genus. That picture of a juvenile was given to me by Axel Quet. The classic Philodryas baroni. And an interesting things about its resemblance to Rhynchophis bourangeri from Southeast Asia is mentioned too. The quite rare Philodryas boliviana. Just a few specimens have been observed until now. Philodryas camisonis from Chile. I have a lot more picture, but the file itself is very loud and it's very slow to work on that book with picture on it. So I have another version with only text. Philodryas cordata may be the rarest Philodryas species ever because it has only been observed 2 times. One time by the discoverers, Miss Donnelly and Mr. Myers, and a second time by Andreas Schulz from Germany, who was kind enough to give me that picture. It lives on a Tepuy, a big plate mountain in Venezuela, like that, and it's very difficult to get there. You can only go there by helicopter. Philodryas servendi, who was before considered as Philodryas matogrossensis. Philodryas George Bourangeri, now back to Xenoxiberis, and with very similar to Philodryas argentea. There is only 2 ways to distinguish them. There are some dots on the chin of Philodryas argentea, and there are no dots on the chin of Philodryas George Bourangeri. Also, the anal plate is entire on that species. Philodryas laticeps, now back to the Chlorosoma genus, who has been resurrected a few months ago. The quite rare Philodryas livida, living in South Brazil and Paraguay. Philodryas matogrossensis. There's still a lot of work to do here, but that's not a problem. What concerns me for the moment is field research. That's only text missing here. Philodryas natereri was been recently observed for the first time in Bolivia. Philodryas olfersi. I have had the chance to reproduce this species, and we can see here some reproduction picture, an X-ray, and where we can see all the eggs and the babies. The classic Philodryas patagoniensis, who has now been reclassified into Pseudabables genus. Oh, that's a picture from Strasbourg Zoological Museum. The Instituto Butantan gave them that Philodryas patagoniensis preserved in alcohol, hitting another snake. He died like that. Philodryas psamophidea. I have had the chance to get. I have 2 females, and I have the chance to get 1 male from the Munich University. They gave me a male, so I made something like 3 reproduction. The babies are so thin, just like that picture with a coin here. At first, they can't eat mouse. They just can't eat some very small fish. Then after, they can start to eat baby mice. Philodryas simonsi, still a lot of work to do concerning that one. Same for Philodryas tachymenoides. Oh, Philodryas trilineata. Very rare in captivity. I get my specimen from Andreas Meister from Germany. Philodryas varia. That's a picture from Bolivia. I should go in Paraguay and Bolivia next year, maybe, to visit those people, herpetological and other university doctor to go on the field with them, and hopefully we will find some specimen. And the last one, Philodryas viridissima, that's now going back to Chlorosoma. So that's all for the species account. And now a chapter about envenomation by Philodryas, with an introduction and a small section about each species. So obviously some species are are totally harmless, especially Philodryas acasici, which is a very small species, about 30-40 centimeters for adult specimen. But for some other, of course, they can be damaged, like of course Philodryas olferti, Patagoniensis, Camisonis, and Natereri. So that's not finished, but I have so much publication about envenomation that it won't take long to write that. This is a table of all the scalation of Philodryas, scale of the head and scales of the body, which is a very good way to differentiate them. I don't know if I will put it in at the end of the book. And the classic glossary and the literature cited. So for the moment, 160 pages of classic A4 format. The font is Time New Roman, size 12. So I don't know how many pages there will be at the end. But I still have some work to do, and of course some field research. But that can give you a good overview of what I'm working on for the moment. So that's all for the moment. Don't hesitate to give me a comment, a feedback, and tell me what you think about it, and if you have ideas, suggestions, and so on. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.